I am your host, Wayna Dobson, along with Trippy Congo. How you doing today, Trippy?
All right. How are you, Wayna?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for asking.
Okay. Who's coming on tonight?
We have a group of people that are coming on to talk about a chess tournament
Okay.
that I believe is coming up, and we have two young adults that are over in Studio B, and they're starting their chess game off, so we'll be panning over there to them. We have lots of funeral announcements. We
Yes.
have community news.
Yeah.
And
Councilman Namdi Chikocha, he's going to come and talk about a meeting that we're going to have at City Council
okay.
tomorrow. So he should be here now. Hopefully he'll be here in a few minutes just to kind of bring us up to date of what's been going on around education. So it should be a
Okay.
good conversation with him too.
Very good.
Yeah.
So, talking about education, they quoted me today in the newspaper.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
talking about education. So I was like, okay,
All right.
Wayna.
Oh, you made it. Oh,
But the funny thing is, this quote was taken like months ago,
okay.
and it's like they just
Uh-huh.
inserted it
was
into
it
the
about?
education. It was talking about Moyer Academy.
Okay.
So that's what it was. That was my quote about.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So what's been going on with you?
Nothing much. Just working a little bit and resting a little bit. What about you?
I started a new business. We'll talk about that another time.
Let's
It's
talk,
a trap.
no, let's talk about that for a few minutes right now.
Okay.
What kind of business?
It's a traveling company.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay. What's it called?
Well, it's through Paycation. So
Uh-huh.
to go to my site, and I have to get Alvin to put it up. It's www.waynasworld.paycationonline.com. So, but you'll be really interested in the trips that I can get you on,
How come?
just so you can get away.
Oh, okay. I
You
thought
like to
and I thought you
enjoy
knew
life.
like a certain destination that I like, and you had to like to hook up on it or something. No.
Maybe, but we can
Okay,
talk about that
okay,
later.
all right.
And then, of course,
Congratulations.
thank you. I'm excited about it.
Have you booked anyone yet?
No, I just started,
Did
but
you?
I'm getting there. You're gonna be my first person.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna just
You do
book
anything
you.
like
and-
locally, like to New York or something?
Yeah.
Do you? Okay. All right, I
yeah,
got you.
anywhere you want to go.
All right.
Condominiums, vacation, cruises.
Okay.
But I'm good. Okay, on that note, I definitely want people to call me. I'm going to like do fundraisers for nonprofits and churches. So if you want a non-traditional way of making extra money for your church or for your nonprofit, you can give me a call at 521-7325. And especially cruises, like they'll match the money that you make. So
Okay.
yeah, so
Are payment plans available?
payment plans are available.
Okay. All
Most
right.
definitely.
All right. So
So
we
you
can
should
definitely
do
talk
one.
about that some more.
Yeah.
All right.
And I've been helping Gundy with Big Daddy Kane.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't forget, can I announce the winner of the tickets?
course.
Remember, we gave away
Oh, yeah,
tickets, and I
yeah.
just want to make sure
And that's coming up on Saturday, right?
this Saturday,
Okay.
yes. So the gentleman that won the tickets, his name is Shannon Adams Ford. So Shannon gets 2 tickets, and they will be at will call. So make sure, Shannon, you bring your ID, because I don't want everybody saying, "Oh, I'm Shannon. I won the tickets on the Congo Hour."
And then once again, that's this Saturday at the Clarion, right?
Yes, and I have a little like 30-second
Okay.
promo that we'll show later on.
All right.
So, you ready to get started?
Uh-huh.
All right.
All ready.
So, I'm excited, as I'm always excited, to introduce one of our guests for this evening, and I'll let her introduce everyone that she has brought down with her, and that is Miss Sini. Welcome to the Congo Hour.
Thank you, Wayne. It's good to be
Yeah,
here.
welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Trippy.
Hey.
So, you have you've always been interested in chess.
I've been
Yes.
playing chess for a long time.
Yeah, so let's talk about the organization that you're a part of.
Okay, the organization is called DYCO, D-Y-C-O. That's Delaware Youth Chess Organization. And Mr. Drew Saras, our past Delaware State chess champion. And tell us more about DYCO.
Okay, Drew, welcome.
Yeah. We actually started, all 4 of us, and one other person, Andre Santosa, the Delaware Youth Chess Organization last year after the state tournament. I work at Coomba along with Miss Sini. We started the chess program there. And then this is Nate Durant. He's the chess coach at the national championship winning chess team at Thomas Edison Charter School. And then Michelle Pergerelis is on the state board for the Chess Association. And we kind of work on putting on tournaments, starting chess clubs at schools. Like one of the things we're advertising for today is trying to get people to start programs at their own schools. There's even just like 1 hour a week, 1 day a week, could be at a school or it could be at a community center, a rec center, a library. You can get 10, 15 students and really change a lot of lives. And I know Michelle's got some stats on the benefits of chess, but that's really what we're here to talk about.
Okay. All right. Before we go to you, Michelle, Miss Sini, will you give us the names of the young man and
Our
lady?
young players are Whitney Greenwich from Congo Academy, where Drew and I work, and Javon from
Thomas Edison.
Thomas
Charter.
Edison.
Okay.
Yes.
He now goes Howard.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna pan in
they're-
over
they're
there.
pretty,
They're really
they're
into
looking
it.
pretty intense over there.
Have you ever played chess?
No. Have you?
I have.
Have you?
Yes.
I guess I always saw it like so intimidating. I've never
Really?
even tried it.
That's not a nice word for our youth. to
I
hear.
know. I guess that's
That's
hopefully.
how you felt.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I was like, I won't
You
learn how
could
to
come
play
with
that
our
game.
kindergarten class. It'd be nice. We just started kindergarten
Did
a
she?
couple weeks ago, a couple months
Did
ago.
Trippy. Did she say?
I'm gonna take you
She
up on
didn't
that.
say beginners adults.
Kindergarten.
She
Okay,
put you
I'm
to-
going to take you up on that.
Okay,
When is it?
Thursday.
I'm not going to have any mercy on them either.
Okay, Thursday. And we just started with kindergarten and first grade about 2 months ago.
Okay.
That it's very good that you're doing that because one, I mean, playing, it's like you really have to think out your moves that you're making and know which one can move where and.
I guess growing up, checkers was just so much easier. I always chose to play checkers. So I'm just telling the truth.
It's a
And
little
it-
different. And on the
So-
Mind Matters today, they had Naila Gilliam
Okay.
talking about meditation. And one of the things that we focus on is meditation. And in the 2 months that our kindergartners and first graders have started, they are now meditating. When I
wow.
first asked them, do they know what it means, they went, But now they look forward to, they ask, is it time to meditate? Because you have to have a clear mind and focus. That's our message to them.
So if there's a parent that's watching that says, I definitely want to get my child in this, even if it's not at their school, they can call the number that Drew gave us that's on the screen?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
one of the major missions of the Delaware Youth Chess Organization is to bring chess to everyone. You know, it's as simple as buying a board. And when a child sits down to play chess, they develop higher level thinking skills. You know, so just the act of buying a board, taking the first step, and reading the directions. You don't necessarily need a chess coach to teach you how to play chess, and anybody can do it. And once you do it, you start developing those skills that are essential to life. At Edison, we call chess the game of life, because the same critical thinking skills that you use on the chessboard, use them in your everyday life. And on any given moment, you could walk into our building, and we have 200 or 300 kids playing chess. You know, in the lunchroom, they play chess. Whenever it's raining outside and they can't go to recess, they play chess from 3rd grade through 8th grade. And a lot of times with chess, the stigma is that it's a nerdy game. Well, everybody on the basketball team in my school, they play chess. Everybody on everywhere, it's just part of our school culture, which is great. And especially at a time in Wilmington where it seems like the cost of living is going up and the chance of living is going down, you have positive kids sitting down at a chessboard, focusing and working on problem-solving skills, which is quite amazing.
That's pretty good that they're, I guess, being introduced to chess at such a young age. I guess that's one of my regrets going to Delaware State. Everybody down there was playing chess, and I never knew how to play. So I guess because I was never really exposed to it. Maybe I was, I just didn't do it. But I always regretted not knowing how to play. So that's why I'm going to take you up on that offer.
Thursday,
Let's see,
thank
that's
And
you.
we'll
right.
have to
All
play.
right. You know how to play?
Didn't I tell you I know how to play chess?
Do you? Okay. I wasn't paying attention. Sorry.
Maybe we're gonna stick with hangman.
Okay, yeah. I'm
You're a beast
I'm,
at
yeah,
hangman.
I'm the champion hangman.
Michelle, Drew mentioned you had some statistics. You want to share them?
One of the things is that chess helps in so many different ways. It helps with spatial relationships. You learn angles, you learn coordinates, you learn self-control, patience with yourself. You reevaluate your choices. A lot of analyzation. It helps with math skills, helps with reading skills, and it also teaches gracious professionalism of sharing your ideas and working through things with your opponent and learning a lot more things with that. So it's, you know.
So you mentioned
it's a
sharing your
lot.
ideas with your opponent. Explain that to me.
So that would be, you won a game, but you go over that game and you discuss the tactics that were involved in it.
Okay,
And you
that's-
teach them how they could have counteracted that.
Oh, okay, that's
So
something that
it's,
normally
share,
happens.
it's
Wow,
sharing
that's pretty
your
cool.
knowledge with somebody else.
Okay.
That is good.
And that's not all the time in chess.
And Michelle brings up a good point about how chess can help you mathematically. At Edison, we have an integrated chess and mathematics class that we teach to every third grader. And what the kids don't realize is we're teaching them algebraic concepts in third grade. The chessboard is a square, it's a 8 by 8 square, and each square has its own name, but it's just like a graph. So we teach the students how to, they have to identify the square. So in graphing, you go 1, 2, 3, up. In chess, it's ABC, 1, 2, 3. So they can identify, they begin to identify the names of the squares on the chessboard. And each chess piece also has a value. So a knight is worth 3 points, a pawn is worth 1 point. But we don't call them knights and pawns. When you write down during algebraic notation, they use the letter N. So now they can start to equate letters with numbers, which is variable, which are using variables, and they're starting to do this at a third grade, at a third grade level, which is quite amazing.
And it's been proven also that chess is an excellent form of education, especially for first and second graders, which a lot of people think, oh, my child's too young to learn chess, but it's so beneficial at that age.
Look, my kindergartners and first graders, they know now the value of each piece. I've taught them a song, 32 pieces, 64 squares, working together. If you want me to sing it for you, I will, but anyway. But they look forward to, my queen is worth 9 points. I can buy 9 hamburgers at McDonald's. But it is, as Nate has said, the math equation to playing chess. It's phenomenal.
So if someone is watching, Drew, what would you say to them to encourage their child to get into the program?
Yeah, well, I can give my experience.
Okay.
Growing up, I mean, I didn't start chess till I was a little bit older, almost high school age. But I was, I liked playing games, board games with my family, and I liked to win. But then when I started playing chess, I was like, oh, I'll be able to pick this up real quick. And that's not how it was. I lost a lot of games. I kept losing. I was like, man, I really want to get good at this. So I went to a library, and it was just someone who invited me who didn't really know anything about chess, and I just started playing other kids and kept losing. I was like, okay, gotta keep working on this, gotta be okay with losing. Well, that's not what I was thinking at the time. I was like, okay, I gotta get better so I can win. But I kept playing, and I learned a lot more how to be patient, how to learn from my mistakes. That was a big thing. Like even now, I'm like, you make a lot of mistakes playing chess. You can't play every move perfectly. But then I was like, okay, break this down, see what I could do better, and then improve on that. And that's one of the big benefits I see to chess is you get that chance to learn that patience. You get that chance to learn from your mistakes. You analyze it with your games. I made a lot of friends playing chess, and it's just a skill you can use anything else. One thing we also teach at Goombas with Miss Sini, we teach the kids how to teach other kids. So if you're going to be teaching people throughout your life, whether you're a professional educator or you're just teaching people on the job, it's just so important, the skill of teaching, that I think chess is a really good way to start building that confidence in students to be able to say, hey, I've got this skill, I can teach you how to do it as well. And they're as young as first and second graders. So, and it's something people can do anything. Nate came up with our motto, unplug and play chess. You don't need a TV, you don't need a screen.
Right.
Just set out a board and you've got to
Again,
game it.
unplug
And our mission with the Delaware Youth Chess Organization is to make chess accessible for anyone, even someone walking through the park. So we last year was our first year. We started the Chess in the Park program, where every night we had chess boards set up for anybody to come up and play in the community. It was at Tilton Park last year. This year we're going to be working with the Department of Recreation to expand on the program. We actually had Secretary Murphy, Secretary of Education, come to Chess in the Park last year and play, and we had kids who would seem like there would be a problem in the neighborhood. They would come up and they would play chess. And what that did is it connected, one, the neighborhood that the park was in to the kids that are in the neighborhood, and there's oftentimes a rift there. So chess, our goal here is to make chess accessible to anyone who wants to play. You don't need batteries for a chessboard, okay? So when you come, you can just sit down and just play a good game, and that's really what we want. We want Delaware to be chess capital USA. Philly's known for the cheesesteak. We can be known for the chessboard.
Very good. I have a question. When I see movies, they have a timer.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that. They have it over there too.
Okay, they have a timer
Yeah.
over there. Like, how long do you have to move?
Well, different games are different.
Okay.
So you decide on that before you play the game.
Okay.
And every tournament has a certain rules on that. So what it does is each person has the same amount of time, and you press your clock when your turn is over, and it starts the next person's clock. So it can be a really fast game, or it can be a slow game. So
Okay.
it allows each person to have the same exact amount of time to think.
Okay.
That's usually in competition where you have the timer?
Yes.
Friendly? Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Drew and I attended a meeting last week with Parks and Recreation. They have joined in, and there's going to be some exciting things coming into Wilmington in the park, Chess in the Parks this summer, as Nate alluded to. And
The Fall Chess League.
Mr. Drew will tell you about that one.
But yeah, we're working with Parks and Recreation to start a fall chess league. So one of the best ways to get chess into schools and community centers is to work with places that are already operating. So Parks and Recreation has already met with us and is going to work with us to get those started in different community spaces throughout Wilmington. So we're excited about that.
And that's going to be great because you'll have schools from all over the city having the opportunity to have some of the best minds in each school play each other, whether they're private schools or public schools, whether it's a school like Thomas Edison or a school like Wilmington Charter. We'll have an avenue for those students to be able to really showcase their talents, you know. A lot of times basketball and football are highlighted, but I think it's about time for our youth, the minds of our youth to really be highlighted.
Okay.
And-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, one thing I forgot to mention is the Delaware this year received an award from the United States Chess Federation for the amount of new players we got registered. So we had a tournament in the fall in November, and then we had a tournament in January, and we've got a tournament April 11th. So if anyone's watching, register for the tournament April 11th. But we got an award for the amount of people we have got started playing chess, mostly from Wilmington area.
Yes.
So we want to keep on increasing those numbers because a lot of people realize how important it is.
Okay. Ms. Sini, you have 30 seconds to close out.
Well, I want to thank you for allowing us to come on. We're excited about this, and I hope that the city of Wilmington, the state of Delaware, will get excited about the youth in chess because it's a beneficial game for the mind, attitudes, the overall being of our children. So it's an awesome thing. April the 11th is the next tournament at the CEB building, 12th and Market Street. And the time is at 9 o'clock until.
Okay.
And we have, I think we have about 30 some kids registered already. The last tournament, there was an increase to 76.
Great.
And how are the tournaments, like how are they broken down? By level or just kind of everybody just, go ahead.
Well, we have from kindergarten to 12th grade, and the sections are from beginner. We have a beginner section, we have an intermediate section, we have an advanced section. So no matter where you are, there's a place for you at our tournaments.
Okay. And they can just call the number that's on the screen if they need more information, right?
Yes.
They can call the number or they could email us.
Okay.
And the email address.
Okay. All right. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
So we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
All right.
Good evening and welcome back to the Congo Hour. Our next guest, before we go to our next guest, one of our faithful viewers, Trippy, I want to read a text message that he wrote to me. I'm not going to mention the person's name, but he says that he's been on his job for 20 years, and the end of March, his job will be closing its doors. They say it's for 6 months, but if you work for the state, you don't know what to believe. I'm writing this to you because my residents the residents are at Emily Bissell, just so you'll know that he's going to miss them so much, and he knows that we will miss them, the Congo Funeral Home, because every month he mentions that we bring a birthday cake there to celebrate everybody who's having a birthday in that particular month. And so we want to thank Linda Congo. Kimmy's the one that initiated, but Linda faithfully goes down there and takes a cake. So he's saying that he wants to let the public know what's happening to all of these state workers who are being displaced and really don't know what the future is. And he says he thanks us for taking the time out for reading his text, and his Emily P. Bissell employee. So that's really sad.
Yeah, maybe we can have somebody
From the state,
yeah,
come on.
give us some more information.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, if you are someone that knows what's going on, if you would be so kind and give me a call at 521-7325. That's 521-7325, so that we can get to the bottom of it. I feel like, you know how Channel 6 or whoever, when something's going wrong in the community, they call them, they check it out, and they can fix it. So maybe we can do something to help out. So Trippy, I'm going to let you introduce our guest.
Yeah,
You
he's a
work
good
with
friend of mine. He's, he's a guy who's just all over the city. He's been doing great things even before he got on council.
Most definitely.
He just grew up in, I guess, in an environment he always was trying to help and be a part of.
It's in his blood.
It is,
from
yeah,
his dad.
from his dad.
Yeah.
And, he and his brother have been on tour on HBO,
Right.
and it's like a little celebrity. Matter of fact, man, it's an honor to be. I might have to get his
Right,
autograph before he leaves. But I mean, I guess I've known Nnamdi for so long, and just kind of seeing him in that spotlight, just always, with the poetry, and it's like seeing him on HBO, and now having an opportunity to work with him on council. It's like he teaches me a lot, just his passion, and for he and his brother, just for all they've done for kids throughout, as far as I've known him, even before he was on council, as far as just trying to get them, trying to keep kids on the right path. All their poetry has always, just been around children and making better choices and just doing the right thing in the community. So
And he stays humble.
He does, yeah. He's a really humble guy. He after he won, we were both out there on Concord Pike with our sign, with our thank you signs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he called me up. We went out there. I mean, I'm just looking forward to just learning more from him, because he's a guy who just wants the best for children and wants the best for our community, right? And now he's going to talk about a very important meeting that's going to happen on Wednesday, another meeting that's happening tomorrow. So I just let him. I'll let him go from here.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you both
You're
for having me. I'm
course,
glad to
man.
be here. And right now, of course, in our city, it's a great time, for education. It's been, I guess, a long time since it's been newsworthy. Education in our city. It was something no one wanted to talk about.
Right.
But gratefully, thankful to this thing, the priority schools that the governor started, and it created this dialogue. And now all of a sudden, we're really having honest discussions about what needs to happen.
Right.
Since 1974 or 78, in that area where we lost our own school district. We haven't had a voice at the table, but right now our city is poised and ready to again reassert itself in the education of our children. We've been active players in the governor's task force, being involved on that commission, and also a lot of our core recommendations from what we're calling our Wilmington think tank are very similar to the interim recommendations from the governor's group. So tomorrow, as you mentioned, the News Journal and the United Way are hosting an education forum dealing with Wilmington schools tomorrow, and it's at the Chase Center. Starts, I believe, at 4 p.m. And then there's a forum in the evening, I believe, starts at 6 p.m. But our education committee, Education, Youth, and Families Committee of City Council, we're going to host a public hearing on Wednesday, which is March the 11th, and it'll be from 6 to 8 p.m. in the City Council chambers. And the presentation is going to be presented from the Education Task Force. They're going to present their interim recommendations. It's very important for us as a community to come out not only to hear the recommendations, one thing to read them in the paper, but to hear and then be able to give your comment, because these are interim recommendations. So what they want is to get community feedback and input on the recommendations. So before they're presented to the governor and the General Assembly at the end of the month, that our voice is heard. So this is very important. So we're asking for all of our students, our parents, grandparents, all education stakeholders, everyone from our community in whole to come out and really hear what's going on, and especially our elders who had the opportunity to be a part of the Wilmington School District, because you know what's missing. And that same thing is missing for our children, and we need to really step up for our children.
And what time is that meeting on Wednesday again?
It's on Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m.
Okay.
You know, and it's very crucial. I know right now as we're talking about the 4 districts that divide our city, so one of the key recommendations is to reduce that number to 2 districts. So that will impact, you know, half of our city, I mean, straight off. So for all of our parents to come out to hear how this will be impacted. We also talks about creating additional funding streams and additional weighted funding formula for students, which means that you will fund schools according to the students' needs. So it's the needs-based funding, that, and not just also reallocating some of the dollars that are already used, because Title I dollars, Title II dollars can be used differently. So, and then the thing that's very important for us as a city, it talks about not allowing, we of course we're saturated with charter schools throughout our city. So it's speaking about different ways in which before a charter school can come into Wilmington, that the state should have a plan about how charter schools will work together, and how charter schools will work with traditional districts. And then lastly, which is primary for us as a city, where it supports us creating our own Office of Education and Public Policy within our city. So we will have an official entity within our local government that will address the needs of our children and provide educational leadership.
A lot of these recommendations, Namdi, have been talked about for years. Why do you think it's different now? Or is it different now?
Personally, I mean, I haven't felt this groundswell of activity, and for so long it's been, you know, it was just talk about Wilmington. You know, you're just talking about Wilmington, and it was just talk. You know, it didn't go anywhere. These recommendations, I mean, Sister Ray Avery led the task force when in the neighborhood schools into that same recommendations almost, and then Senator Margaret Rose did it in 2008. Same recommendations almost. A lot of them are the same, but what I think is different this time is that it's such a sentiment that it's not just Wilmington, because the high need schools aren't just in Wilmington. They're all throughout Newcastle County. They're all throughout Kent and Sussex counties as well. So this is a statewide issue. And then lastly is that a part of the Education Advisory Commission, they created what they're calling barriers to implementation, you know, a true implementation plan, where we created these recommendations before, but then we just gave them off to the governor, gave them to General Assembly. But now we created a step-by-step process to which it can be truly be implemented, and key again for us as a city that to have our own voice in this process through our Office of Education.
Nambi, you mentioned that on Wednesday it is open for the public, and the public will be able to speak?
Yes.
Okay, so they'll be able to give their ideals.
Exactly. So, I mean, we really need that feedback. I mean, all throughout the nation, rather you're talking about housing, reentry, everybody's talking about community engagement. So this is the chance to have the community come out. I often remember and recall my father leading meetings at the old Martin Luther King School, and the auditorium where we filled up with parents. I mean, it was like, and I often say it's like we was giving out turkeys or something, because everybody was there, but they were there talking about education. That's what we need again. We need that same type of commitment for our children. These children are our future mayors, our future city council reps, our future homeowners, our future police officers and firemen. This is our future of our city. So we need to truly invest in them, and we need input from all our community stakeholders. So often we talk about the negativity in our community. The primary indicator to me is education. I mean, the majority of these children who are involved in that have been failed by the education system. So we really need to address education. This is primary for our city's growth and development, as well as for our youth.
Yeah, so much so often, I guess we get so caught up in I guess public safety being the answer to
Exactly.
crime, and it's not.
Definitely
Yeah,
not.
it's not.
Definitely
It's
not. I
We
mean,
really
we
have
talk
to-
about root causes. I mean, education, family breakdown. So many things are involved. But education, our schools have to be the heart of our communities. You know, I get teary-eyed when I hear people, talk about what Howard used to be and what Wilmington High used to be, and PS, the dynamiters. That we don't have that. Our children don't know that sense of their schools being that hub, and that's sad. That's sad that they can't have that same support and that same guidance. I read that one book about Howard High School, where they didn't have enough money for band equipment, and community raised the money for them. I mean, can you imagine our community coming together to support our schools today? We're talking about chess, that group, that's what we need. Not just all of these activities for our children's, their growth and their development, but we need to support them. We have to show them different opportunities, such as chess, and not just sports. And all of this comes by running our schools differently, and by having a community-centered perspective where the schools are truly the center of a community. And we have to get that way by involvement and true community engagement.
Most definitely.
What do you think the timeline is as far as seeing real change in our education system?
I mean, some of it's happening. I mean, Representative Williams from Newcastle area, she just sponsored a bill that really, radical almost when you think about the way things have been for special education. I mean, so it's coming. A lot of these recommendations are already making their way to the General Assembly. So I think some of it we'll see quite quickly, but I think definitely over the next few years, some major changes will happen. But it definitely is a groundswell, and this is the foundation of some changes. True foundation changes for the city of Wilmington.
You know what I was thinking? I apologize. Like so many times, and this isn't anything negative about what's about to take place, because I pray that a change is going to take place. But so often we have these ask the community to come out to speak, and then unfortunately, like no one takes their advice or hears them out. Like it's already a preconceived ideal of what's going to happen anyway. So I need you to promise me that that's not going to be the case
No
this
question.
time.
I think that the key word that this task force came up with was interim recommendations, because this is what we may say, and a lot of it again were based on these two reports, which had a lot of community input, but we really need the community involvement. There's been a host of opportunities. I know the community education building just hosted one, and William Penn had one, the Colonial District. So everybody's providing feedback on these recommendations and the impact that it would have not only on Wilmington and our schools and our children, but our community. So it's very important that we do come out, and I promise you, even if it's a repeat comment, it's being recorded. They have a big old list. Tizzy Lockman and Shafan, and they're doing great. Just keeping all this data. So all of their recommendations are being presented. They're being vetted. The University of Delaware is helping us with Dr. Rich. So it's great. Honestly, again, I haven't felt this optimistic that there is something coming, and it's good for our children. I thought that priority schools was good, because it opened the door to talk about what they wanted to talk about, these 6 schools, but we wanted to talk about those 6 schools which are part of a 4-district model, which were a part of a failing system that didn't include the city of Wilmington being involved in the education of our children. So it opened that door, and it gave us this opportunity to discuss some things that for decades have been going wrong, and we've known it. So it's not like this is a new discussion. We've known this, and we just haven't, and they keep saying this word in Delaware, the political will. There just hasn't been the political will to change it. But thankfully that this is a discussion that, again, is broader than just Wilmington. It's talking about county and statewide issues. So I think that's what is galvanizing the support for this issue.
Good. I'm going to definitely do my best to be there.
Yeah, I think it's really important that people just make a way to get there and bring their families. Our chambers has to be packed.
Man,
Stay in the room
we
only.
do, man. I
Just to send a
would
message
love
to
it.
the state.
We need it, Trip. We really need that voice. When we think about, people start, tell me stories. My father's interactions. One of my first interactions that as a youth advocate, I was at a school at AI Middle School. I mean, principal or assistant principal at that time was a brother named Ray. And he didn't, Brother Shabazz, Kenneth Shabazz and I were there, advocating for a student. And, it's going good. He's like, we sitting there suits and tie, but you could have did it this way, he didn't. So at the end, everything got settled. The young man came back into school. We worked it out. He said, man, I like the way you guys came in there. He said, years ago, this guy came in my office, man, just turned my desk over. Man, I'll never forget Hicks Anderson. And he didn't know I was Hicks Anderson. So it got to the point of saying, what we really need to do. So, I mean, some people still think we need to flip some tables over, but we have to do it, both ways. But we have to be active and we have to be involved for our children. We have to stand up. We have to give them the tools that they need to be successful. We can't do anything about crime if our children aren't going to be equipped with the skills that they need, the knowledge they need to be as they say, college and career ready. We need that. We need to do more for our children. I think that this commission is truly taking that to heart, and in the role that the city hopefully will play through this office of education. I mean, it's great. If you look at what Mayor Nutter did in Philadelphia when he came in office, he created his office. I mean, some great programs. He has this retention program for kids, re-engagement program for kids who've dropped out of school. Something that we need drastically here in our, and there's a pot of money that hooks them to resources so you can get back into school. We need those same type programs here. In our office will allow us to create a plan so we can address it. Mayor Nutter said, this is our high school dropout rate, is this. Our goal in the next 2 years is to have it here. And they met their goal every year. So we need to try to do the same thing. But we need that Office of Education, which will take for us, we're going to need some enabling legislation, which will enable us to establish it. So,
I definitely want to give a shout out to, and a thank you really to Council President Theo Gregory and his role. Just making sure that the council is involved and active and, supporting these meetings and hosting these meetings that we've had over the last few months around education.
Yes, definitely. And I know everybody thinks that, council's here, mayor's here. I know if there is one issue in our city that everybody's united on, I mean, everybody from our state reps, our state senators, city council, the administration, the mayor, we're all on board. And this is the way forward. And I think we're working as a united team. And I think this is really going to be the path forward for Wilmington.
I think, it has to be. I guess a lot of people, including myself, just frustrated with hearing the same, same meetings and same ideas just falling on deaf ears. But now, I guess, around the like the News Journal and different media outlets who have been talking about education, it does seem like it's going to be a little different. Hopefully it is. If not, I think it is time to turn some tables over.
I was going to say he remember your dad, right? He got
exactly.
So, right.
It works.
That's by any means necessary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If there's anything that we need to fight for, I think it's for our children's education.
That's it. That's it. Indeed, and for us to have that voice, I mean, we can't be a city that has no role in their children's education. It just doesn't work. We want to host basketball leagues and park and recreation, but something that's really important for their growth and development is education, and we need to be involved in it.
Right. Councilman Nambi, I'm always the bad person. We're going to have to end our segment.
I appreciate you guys having me.
we do have quite a few funeral announcements to get to, and Trippy will talk until 9:15 if I let him, okay? But we definitely appreciate you coming down and getting it out to our viewing audience.
Just recap one more time what's happening tomorrow, Wednesday.
See?
Tomorrow is the News Journal and United Way are having their education forum at the Chase Center, and it begins at 4 p.m. and there's a forum at 6 p.m. And then on Wednesday, the City Council Education, Youth, and Families Committee is hosting its public hearing on the interim recommendations, and that will be held in City Council chambers from 6 to 8 p.m.
Okay.
All right.
All
All right. Thank you.
you so
All
very
right.
much
Thanks
for
for having
coming on. Going to take a very quick break, and we'll be back with our funeral announcement.